All right, welcome into the LA Sports Brotherhood. It's me, Ryan, here with my brother Matthew, and we're here with our final position group breakdown of the spring, at least before the spring game, with the defensive backs. So, Matt, can you tell us what we got going with the defensive backs?
Yeah, so defensive backs who we've lost Christian Roland Wallace, Domani Jackson, Max Williams, and Kalen Bullock. And who we've added, we have John Humphrey, following his coach from UCLA. Kamari Ramsey's doing the same. We've added DeCarlos Nicholson and Keely Arnold. So my projected starters is John Humphrey at cornerback, Jacoby Covington at quarterback, Jalen Smith at nickel, Keely Arnold at safety, and Kamari Ramsey at safety. So this, I don't know. I assume you agree. I think this is the strength of this current defense. I think what we saw in the Holiday Bowl was just so encouraging from guys like Covington, even Bryson Shaw. And the main thing we all said after saying that was like, just wow, they were tackling. I mean, the tackling was so much better, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And the the biggest thing seeing these transfers we got and just the guys coming back, this group is so physical. They're so big, they're long, they're physical, and I think that's especially huge considering what conference we're going into. We're going into the Big Ten, and it's not the same as the Pac-12. I know Oregon and Washington are coming over, but it's not going to be straight air raid. It's not going to be a lot of the way Washington would just throw it 100 times a game. It's not going to be like that. The Iowas, the Nebraskas, all even the powerhouses, Michigan. Unless you're Ohio State, you're not really throwing the ball like that. So these cornerbacks, they're not going to have as much stress on them in terms of covering these brilliant receivers and these air raid offenses. But also they're going to have to tackle, and I think seeing these physical guys and the way they've tackled in the Holiday Bowl, and just in general the way they played, and then most of those guys coming back, and then you add, four guys who I genuinely think are good. Two of whom know the scheme of Danton Lynn already. I feel really good about this group. I think they're physical. I think they'll tackle better, and I think they'll be better in coverage. Jalen Smith was the defensive player of the Holiday Bowl. I feel like this group has so much depth. They may not have the number one lockdown corner, but in a way that's somewhat good because last year it was like, Domani, you have to be our guy. If you're not our guy, then we're screwed because no one else can really do anything. He ended up not being the guy, but no hate to him. We don't like to send 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids hate here,
Yeah.
but he wasn't the guy. Wish nothing but success for him at Alabama. But this year, we don't really have that guy. But as a collective group, there's so many guys I feel comfortable with playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think about this group?
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely, like you said, this is not, I think it's the best group, but it's also like the most talented. Sometimes it doesn't really go hand in hand, but I think they do have the most talent of any of the defensive position groups. And they're have the record of success individually, like the transfers. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting because there are gonna be series and parts of the game where they only play with four DBs, which I think is good, especially in the Big Ten. But yeah, I don't really have any specific person to single in on because it's really gonna be three transfers to me and Jacoby Covington probably. I do agree with you there. I love Jalen Smith. He was People really did not like him last year at points at least because he was the nickel guarding tight ends and he's small and everything. But he knows how to play football, and unlike Max Williams, who we also very much love because he's a real Trojan, But he was undersized, and he did because of his injuries. He didn't really have the quickness, Like so, he Max Williams was a smart football player. He just was not physically capable of a lot. I think Jalen Smith is a smart football player, and he's incredibly quick and has really good instinct for the ball. I just like him. I like him a lot. I love Jalen. As a nickel, I think he's solid, even if he's like 5'10" or whatever, which made people really scared. But yeah, so I just want to show him some love because he was catching a lot of flack, like as if he was responsible for the entire defense last year. But yeah, we have probably some of the best safety depth in a very long time. Bryson Shaw, not my favorite, but he's a veteran player with a lot of experience, and he's been solid at times for sure. So him with like backing up Achille Arnold and Kamar Ramsey, Christian Pierce, really highly thought of freshman, or freshman last year, like coming in. He's a sophomore now. He got bulked up. Zion Branch, honestly, oh, I forgot. Honestly, I'm reading this thing. He's rehabbing again. I didn't even remember he was hurt again. I hope he can recover. I was really excited about him. He has that size that where you can kind of even play him in the box a little bit. So it would be nice. But yeah, I don't want to go list guy by guy because there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of depth who can rotate. They're obviously going to rotate a lot because you don't really stick a guy, or SC at least hasn't really stuck guys on the defensive backs on the field and not rotated. But yeah, so what sticks out to you of these guys? I know you talked a lot, but like, what's the thing you're looking for?
Uh, Tackling. It has to get better. I mean, they other teams would run outside and none of the cornerbacks could tackle.
Hmm.
And I mean, even I love Bullock. I mean, he couldn't tackle either. He was our best player in the secondary, and he couldn't tackle. Damani couldn't tackle, and it was just so hard to watch. I think Humphrey, Ramsey, Arnold, all these guys played a lot of football. Ramsey's still somewhat young, but they play a lot of football. They know what they're doing, like you said with Smith. It's a veteran group that's physical, and if they can tackle, that'll be so huge, especially in the Big Ten, like I mentioned, with the running backs. And so I think there's not only depth like with the guys in the rotation, but also I mean, Marquise Gallegos, I mean, he's a fan favorite already, you know, being from here. Any guy from California is gonna be a fan favorite.
Yeah,
And Marcel, you mentioned Max Williams, love him. He just didn't have the size. His brother has been making a lot of noise in camp. Marcellus Williams
yeah,
has apparently looked really, really good. I feel so good about this group, you know, depth wise. And if John Humphrey can be like that like our like a guy that you know he's going to be able to guard one on one, that could really take this group to the next level. I think Kamari Ramsey was our highest rated transfer, and he from the film I've watched him, he looks really good. I think Bullock struggled a lot with the run game and tackling, and like we said, I'll just say the safeties I think will be so much better this year if you take a like I said about Bullock. Williams is a really smart player. He's just really undersized, and Shaw can be a funny player to watch at times,
yeah,
but he can also be good at times. But there was just no reliability from that group, especially against the run. And they were other than all the D line linebackers, of course, they were also responsible for a lot of those 90-yard runs, which seem to happen every single game for the past 2 years.
yeah,
I think that will be shut down. Ramsey's great. Arnold, when watching his brother Mascarenas Arnold's tape, Achille Arnold stood out a lot watching those games. I think he always knows where to be, and that's really important as a safety. And Zion Branch, he is someone who I don't know, I just was naturally drawn to him. I want him to succeed so bad.
yeah,
It's just the injuries have killed him, and I don't know why he didn't play last year. That was my main gripe with Grinch because when he was on the field, he came down, he made tackles, he looked physical. It's just if he can get healthy. He got hurt in October, I believe, so he's missed out on spring. Maybe I'm hoping he stays another year, and next year will be his year. I'm hoping he's healthy for the season and gets in the mix.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a very deep group. Covington coming back. We don't know with guys like Sierra and Traquan. There's a little bit of smoke about transferring,
Oh,
but
Sierra Wright's
even
not
if
even listed on the roster. I don't know
yeah,
what's going
okay,
on,
yeah,
but he's done.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, even if Traquan, I do think is good, but he's a nickelback. Jalen Smith, I believe, is going to be great. He's probably going to be one of the captains. I feel good about this group. So I think,
Yeah,
do you think this could be the strength of this group, where it's like genuinely we are a good pass defending team? I know the pass rush is more than that, But
Yeah,
do you think this can be a great cover team?
legitimately, yes. I was very if you've seen the other defensive group previews, I was like very standoffish, hesitant to like claim like they have promise or whatever, but it's like I don't know. I think this group is good. I think especially if we can expect something out of Covington, that's the biggest thing. I think the safeties, honestly, I can lock that down as being a plus. Like straight up, I think that's a plus. I think at nickel we'll have Smith there, and we'll also not have a nickel at all, which will make the defensive backs better at like in some series, just as a result of that. Covington, honestly, Prophet Brown looked good in the Holiday Bowl. I don't know how much you could put into it, but he was of all of the defensive backs are making tackles now plays. Prophet Brown was low key involved in a good amount of them. Like he looked solid. So either we have to have a solid rotation of cornerbacks. I can't speak on John Humphrey. I know UCLA defense legitimately great last year, and Lynn immediately wanted him and Ramsey, so I'm assuming they're good. Um, I don't know much about him yet. I need to watch his film to get into it, so I can't speak on him. But Covington is a guy who physically can really flash, and you see him on the field, and he's keeping up with receivers. But yeah, like I was saying, with Jacoby Covington, we kind of have a guy that he has the frame, like the physicality of a kind of dominating presence on the corner. I mean, he didn't play too much. Nah, he got to run. He was a rotation corner last year. So theoretically, he was part of the tackling problem. But even with that, I do think it's just more time. He didn't really play his first year here, and they obviously saw something in him. And yeah, I'm excited about him. And you mentioned Marcellus Williams, Marquise Gallegos as well. I love that dude. But Marcellus Williams was legitimately considered the best corner in his class for a long time. I don't know why he ended up falling a little bit towards the end, but he's someone that I think, like you said, he's shining in in camp. He just posted another pic of him straight up jumping a route and picking like would have been a pick six if they didn't blow it dead. Like he has the it factor, like that talent that could really like change, especially for next year. So yeah, I'm really excited about him. I hope he gets into the rotation, especially in some of like the smaller games, the less challenging games, I suppose. But he's good enough to where I think at the end of the year, I would not be surprised if he's getting legitimate rotation, like rotation snaps.
Yeah, so I mean, we've mentioned so many names. I think there's legit like so many guys at each position in this room, cornerback and safety and nickel, that like if they play, I'm happy with, and that's just so great to see. You mentioned Covington. You mentioned even the freshman Marcellus Williams, who's looked great. And then you with Covington, you mentioned like that size and frame. I see that with a transfer to Carlos Nicholson. He, I see something in him from. He just looks like that kind of corner with that length he has, with the height he has, that can be that man cover corner. So if he takes a jump, and he could potentially be so huge for this defense. I think we've mentioned pretty much every single player, and we've had something positive to say about every single player. And I think that just pretty much sums up this unit for us. It's deep, it's physical, it's fast, it's a good unit, and it's going to be well coached by Doug Belk. So let's get into our what we think about the future of this position group with the coaching, the recruits, the current young guys. So yeah, I'm really excited about the secondary. Uh, Doug Belk, I think, is a great coach. I think so far he's recruited pretty well. He's gotten Hilton Stubbs and Castro, who Castro actually just got a bump up to a
Yeah,
4-star from
just got
Upland.
bumped.
Really high on him. And the reason I was so excited about Coach Henney is because like D line, that's not really a strength to get 300 pounds in California. California is always going to be flooded with 4 and 5 star secondary guys. It just is.
Yeah,
Just always going to be. And if you have a good coach, if you're developing these 5 stars like Williams, these young guys, I'm just on the roster. I'm really excited about certain young guys in secondary. Williams, Gallegos. If you turn these guys and the NFL guys, these 4 and 5 stars in California are gonna come. It's USC.
Yeah.
I think Dante Williams was a great recruiter here. As a coach, I don't know so much. Hopefully, Doug Belk will be better. But yeah, I think the first group, first group defensively, like we'd say, feel good about the talent currently, feel good about the future, feel good about the coach, feel good about the recruiting. And yeah, I think I'm really excited about the future of the USC defensive backs.
Yeah. Honestly, couldn't have said it better myself. I think they're going to be good. This is they could land a real upper echelon recruit, like, and specifically DJ Lee is a guy from San Clemente, I think, or Mission Viejo, one of those two.
I think he's going to be so good. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm very high on him, praying for them.
Yeah, no. So if we make some headroom with him, it's gonna be a fight. But like, just and not even just specifically him, just those types of guys in Southern California, they're gonna be back. They're gonna be back with SC. I do believe that. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. This ends our position group previews. We're gonna be revisiting these and talking about the spring game. There's a bunch of SC content coming out, honestly, from us. So hope you're excited for that. Thanks for watching. Bye now.